All right, Music Posse, let's put a pause on it here. Hello, good Thursday morning to some of you. Good Thursday afternoon for the other half of you. And it really all depends on how you're catching this episode, this live stream episode of Buying That House. Today, I've got a recurring guest. You're going to love what he's going to share with you. And by the way, as you know, I try to keep these live streams to be about 25 minutes plus or minus. Why? Because you know this and I know this. Less is more. That's fact number one. Fact number two is my recurring guest today has committed to doing 3 live streams with me. This is the first of 3. So whatever you might miss today, well, come back next week. We'll probably give you a little bit of a recap each and every episode, but you're gonna love my guest today. His name is Travis Comstock. And before I welcome him into the studio, let me share with you where he's located. So let's fly virtually to where he's at. Here we go, everyone. Through the power of virtual airlines, we can go to Costa Rica. And with that said, let's also get his US fans, his brothers, sisters, and friends to give him that group smile, group hug, give him a warm, nice welcome. There you go, Travis. Your friends are calling you out. They're saying, buddy, are you ready? Are you ready? So if you are, let's also give Travis some walk-on music. Here we go. And this one is so appropriate. You guys are going to love this. Walk-on music, bud.
Love it.
You love it?
You give the most warm welcomes I've ever experienced, and I appreciate it. It's good to see my American friends rooting us on. And
exactly. Well, through the power of technology, through the practice, the experience of how to mix in enough digital content, I do my best. I try to do my best for you.
You do well. You always start with Chicago. You get me thinking Chicago when you show the skyline. And there was actually a concert I wanted to go to, but I'm back in Costa Rica, so it was at Wrigley
You're
Field.
Back. Yeah. Which concert was that one? Tell us.
It was the Rufus del Sol Wrigley Field. So I'm going to see that. We're going to see them in Cincinnati in September, so that'll be fun. All right, might be cheaper tickets. Obviously,
yeah, I see your Chicago hat. Love it.
And the jersey.
yeah. So first and foremost, before we dive into today's episode, talking about why Americans are considering and moving to Costa Rica, before we get into that, let's start off with the basics. You are a Midwesterner, right?
Correct. Born in Ohio, 11 years in Chicago before the relocation to Costa Rica.
And before you transform yourself and apply your skills in the business of real estate now in Costa Rica, talk to me. remind the people who may not know you as well. What did you do before?
I was in the out of college. I did pharmaceutical sales for about 6 or 7 years, then broke into the medical device industry from there, mainly focusing on neurostim products, from anything from sleep apnea to epilepsy to back pain, you name it. Like I said, mainly a lot of startup companies.
Wow. So a lot of the people you were rubbing shoulders with, calling on, are those high income earners such as physicians, surgeons, et cetera, et cetera.
I try to convert from a customer to a client. There's a big difference. Yes.
There is a difference. There is a difference. And so audience members,
the amount of conversations I have, not only with physicians, but medical device reps, people that have been in the game for a long time, they're looking to diversify. They see my YouTube channel, they hear us talking, and, the topic of Costa Rica, and like I said, diversifying in a foreign market is very appealing to a lot of people.
True. And let's call you out. Yes. All of you who are peers of Travis in the past, and all of you like this gentleman here. Yes, we're calling you out. Why? Because if you are still in that industry, or if you've pivoted and you started doing something else, let's be real. You're calling on that target market where if you did well in the business of pharmaceutical sales, medical device sales, calling on those medical professionals, you guys are swimming in the pool of money, and you do need some of that to do things with real estate, right?
Correct. Without it, it's kind of tough. Kind of hard to relocate without it too. So correct.
That's true. Money currency gives you freedom and more choices, plain and simple.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. I got a good buddy that says it. I got a good buddy that says if you're relocating to Costa Rica, you better bring 2 million because you're going to lose $1 million. So
you're going to lose a
lot of lessons learned.
Yeah, and maybe through these 3 live stream episodes, again, audience members, today is the first of 3. Maybe you'll start to open up and explain why that buddy of yours said, bring 2 million because you're going to lose $1 million. We won't unveil the whole story right now today. Okay.
There you go. Yes.
All right. Perfect. So, Travis, why are Americans considering, if not moving, to Costa Rica? And let's be real, this is your story, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So why is that becoming such a growing topic, growing movement right now?
I would say a few key things. Costa Rica is the perfect spot to invest in a lifestyle investment. And that's going to be something that you're going to buy yourself. You're going to like staying there. Your wife, your girlfriend's going to enjoy it. Your family members, the ability to create memories. So the lifestyle investment in Costa Rica, just with the oceans, the jungle, I mean, you name it, the cloud forest, the volcanoes, there's just so much to do, so much to see. The other thing is it's very stable country. As you have seen, there really hasn't been any political issues or, anything major in the news that would prevent people from coming to Costa Rica. It's a very safe country. The other thing is the potential to earn income and then the long-term appreciation relative to buying condo, buying a house, buying property in Costa Rica.
True. That's so important because for all of you who are watching today's live stream, either live or catching this as an on-demand recording, I mean, the fact is the fact. Real estate is an asset that will appreciate over time. However, let's be real. Let's keep this next part just to the U.S. Given some of the cycles that are that we are seeing right now, that some of us are going through, sometimes you don't want to stomach the peaks and the valleys of what real estate is doing. So if you can acquire something where you're doing it at the right time, you're catching the trend going up, that's really the key.
And we've entered a buyer's market here. I mean, we really have.
Have you?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's more supply than there is, Well, there's more supply than there is demand. However, what I'm seeing is the pre-sale opportunities on the beachfront condos going anywhere from 330,000 up to 400. I'm talking 3-bedroom right on the beach, pool, all the amenities, etc. So it's a bit. I actually just had a client from Miami buy here, and he doesn't own in Miami. He's never owned in the States. This is his first purchase here in Costa Rica. He's doing it more. He got into sales, so he's doing some, international traveling. So this really just helped kind of get his, foot wet in the real estate market in Costa Rica. But his main thing is, I don't care if I ever own in the States, I'll continue to try to find rent, and I'll own in Costa Rica on the beach where I can afford it. And maybe, just maybe, there's going to be enough rental income to actually pay that rent in Florida. So that's best of both worlds. And kind of like what you said, it's tangible. An investment here or anywhere, it's a tangible asset that you can enjoy. And sure, long-term appreciation, it's hard to point to a time where we didn't have long-term appreciation over 5, over 10, over 15 years.
Yeah, very true. And you and I both know this here in the US, within the past, let's say 4 years, because I know you've made this move to Costa Rica within like the same amount of time, right?
Yeah, going on 3, exactly. Going on 3 years now, which is crazy.
Okay. So you know this because you still keep your pulse, your fingers as to what's happening in the continental US. We got this one word problem right now, which is affordability, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, audience members, affordability is not just being able to afford the loan payback amount. That's assuming you're borrowing money to do something with real estate. Okay. All right. So it's not just the loan payback amount of what you're borrowing, but Travis, talk to us, brother. It's the other two things, taxes and insurance, right?
Correct. Insurance is definitely cheaper here. A lot of people who own condos and do the Airbnb rely on the insurance policy from the actual, hosting site themselves. So a lot of people actually won't get insurance. Now, obviously on a single family home in a neighborhood, you're going to get insurance. Going back to the condos, a lot of them have a master policy, obviously, that's going to cover anything catastrophic. So, and taxes is my favorite thing to talk about. 0.25% of the appraised value or the purchase price, whichever is higher. So picture a $400,000. Picture a $400,000 condo being $1,000 a year.
OMG. OMG, Travis, because you spent some time in Chicago. Let's break it down this way. A $400,000 condo. And by the way, a $400,000 condo in Chicago.
Good luck.
With even a decent view. Can you guess what the property taxes are, brother?
I can, because I was one of those, creeping up to about $10,000 a year. And I know I know the suburbs can be extremely expensive too. So it's just one of those things. And what I see is the holding costs are low. So when people come here to make a lifestyle investment, they're going to have expenses. But if you can, cover your taxes, which is not hard to do, cover your HOA and maybe your electric bill, and then use it yourself. There is, tons of advantage to doing that. Even, talk to an accountant about traveling down and being able to do some write-offs. So, there's a lot of advantages to owning that tangible asset.
Yeah, I hear you. So now that you've done this for yourself personally and your significant other, you're 3 going into year 4. How much time do you actually spend in Costa Rica? Is it all 12 months, or what do you do?
It's 10 months. We did keep a property in Indiana, north of Fort Wayne. It's on a lake, so we don't ever want to let that go. But no, we go back, for the summer months. From pretty much all of May, and then half of August, half of September, and then we do the Airbnb ourselves. So we've gotten very comfortable with that, and the house does very, very well. Just with lake access, hard to find.
Yeah. So you come back to the States when, as I'm listening to you, when maybe it's getting a little too hot and steamy down there in Costa Rica.
That, and I do a lot of travel to Miami and Florida. I'm kind of notorious for networking with fellow RE/MAX agents, or it doesn't even have to be RE/MAX, just agents in Florida who have a lot of Americans. And you can imagine there are a lot of Canadians coming here too that are kind of leaving Florida and flocking a little bit more south.
Yeah, Canadians are infamous for buying their second home, vacation homes in the warm climates. And in the past, of course, it was in the warm climate of the sunshine state. But you and I both know there's been some Canadians over the past 12, 24 months that have kind of boycotted doing that, right?
Peace out. We're out of here. No, I'm working with a lot of Canadians right now who are coming, into the market. I see a lot of Canadians where I live that are 6 months on, 6 months off. Whether they Airbnb when they're not there, it's just a personal decision. But there are a lot more people who are coming for longer times. The visa now for travel is 3 months, so it's 180 days, so it's gotten a lot longer compared to when you used to be able to come.
What has surprised you, Travis? What has surprised you and your significant other now that you've been doing this 3 years going into 4 years? What surprised you in the first 6 months when you made this pivot move? And then what surprised you even more maybe a year later in that first year?
I think what surprised me the most is just the ability to get out and do whatever you want. I feel like I'm not time crunched. Every morning is a nice run. It's going to be humid. It's going to be hot. But then like today, just going up to the mountains, doing a listing appointment and then having a lunch up there at an old restaurant. I mean, it's in the beach in the backyard. I think that was the honeymoon period. The two things that shocked me most is, we prepared. It was 18 months before we moved here and we knew we were going to move. So you listen to so many podcasts and so many different things, and you learn there's a lot of nuances here, like going to the bank, basically doing anything. It's not, it's kind of hard to maneuver, some of these, I would say bureaucracy, some of the levels of government in terms of, getting stuff done. Okay. So some of the things you think, okay, it's probably not going to happen to me. Like, I doubt I'll have to go to the bank and wait 4 hours. That guy's probably exaggerating, but everything that you hear that's a negative will happen to you. It's guaranteed. Wow. You're not exempt from anything. I've talked before to you, and I think one of the ways to do that is to buddy up with locals, buddy up with ticos, which is what they call Costa Ricans, ticos, and really just get their help. I mean, it's amazing, the community here. We live in 𝙃𝙀, and it's not only a lot of expats that are friendly to one another, but the local community as well. The other thing that really surprised, and you touched on it in the States, is just affordability. I mean, Costa Rica is not cheap. It's in other countries right behind us who are experiencing a lot of expat relocation, experiencing the same thing. Prices are going up. A lot of that depends on how you want to live. I mentioned going to the mountains, having a four-wheeler. If you come here wanting to live like you did in the States, it's going to be expensive, especially if you want to live on the coast, like areas like 𝙃𝙀, Tamarindo. You can go into the Central Valley and save a lot of money, like where San Jose is at, by not living on the coast. But, groceries are expensive here. Fruits are expensive. Cars are double or triple what they would be in the States just because the import. So there's really no manufacturer of cars here. It's, it's an import from all over. So you see a lot of Toyota, a lot of Honda, a lot of the cars that are somewhat easy to service.
Okay.
But cost and affordability is definitely something that's, it's not cheap. You can kind of compare a lot of things to Chicago minus the property tax.
True. So that's the money coming back to you, the savings from the lower property taxes. Yeah.
Biggest difference, I feel like. Absolutely.
Yeah. But you and I both know, I mean, if you want the view of Lake Michigan, if you want the view of the beachfront, you're going to kind of pay for that. I mean,
yeah. Anytime you see water, you're paying. I mean, whether it's Diversity Harbor or, on the river, you're paying a premium for that view. And same here, it's, if you want to be directly on the beach, it's more expensive than being a block off the beach. Some people buy a block off the beach because of the view. And I caution you, if you want to be beachfront property, buy beachfront property, because there's a good chance you're going to lose that view. We have about 2,300 condos just in 𝙃𝙀, and that's only a 2.5 mile stretch from north to south on the beach. So, there's a lot going on. Like I said, the pre-sales are selling out pretty quickly. And that's just because a lot of people have the opportunity to invest before the products actually finish and save tons of money. I just had a reservation this morning, $330,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. 4th floor, ocean facing. So, I mean, it's still possible.
So when you first made your move there compared to now, do you see more U.S. buyers buying Costa Rica property with cash, or are they financing? Talk to us about that.
No, I'd love to, just because that's a big topic right now, and it's actually a big misconception of people, and for the right reason. For the longest time, you couldn't get financing here, or if you did, because a lot of the American banks pulled out, financing during the 07, 08, 09 crunch.
Right.
So to get financing from a local bank, even for citizens of Costa Rica, very, very hard to do. It's expensive. It's timely. In the States, if you're an American that wants to do it, you have to buy a life insurance policy to back it. So, I mean, there's just a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And biggest thing is just the frustration with it. Now there are 2 companies that I'm working very closely with, American companies that are doing lending strictly for North Americans and Canadians buying real estate in Costa Rica. So what's happening now is the guy that calls me with 300,000 cash can now go, I would say, more of a lifestyle, something that is more suited for what they want to do, what they want to enjoy.
Right.
So now, you can use that 300 as a down payment essentially, or you can take 100 of that, put that as a down payment, and then mortgage into something. But what's big about this and why it seriously is a game changer, it's a 30-year fixed mortgage. So, I mean, that's almost unheard of for an international investment. I think rates right now about 8.25. So that kind of scares some people.
True.
But I can tell you from an international investment, I mean, it wasn't long ago when rates were 10, 11, 12, and they weren't fixed. They could march up after the 3-year mark. So this is phenomenal. There's no prepayment penalty. It's just a good way for someone to get into a higher end product. And like I said, even if there is a mortgage payment, you calculate that with the HOA and with the low taxes, your holding costs are fairly low compared to if you were to do this in anywhere in the States practically.
True. And let's be real, even here in the States, the cost of borrowing money over the recent 2 to 3 years, continue to stair step upwards.
Correct.
So at the end of the day, audience members, if you need to borrow money, unless you just are going to liquidate some assets and buy with cash, it really depends on how and where you're going to place the mortgage. Are you going to source financing, placing the mortgage on the Costa Rica property? Or are you thinking about, hey, I got so much equity in a Chicago property, a California property, or New England property? Let me carve out some of that equity into cash dollars and just do it easier, more simple with the help from Travis, right?
Correct. Yeah. Cash is big. HELOC is very, very big. I'll get your opinion on how many people are doing, HELOCs and your thoughts on that. But that's the number one thing right now I think people are doing to free up money. But I do think financing now, institutional financing will take over. I really do. I think there's tax implications that are much more favorable than if you are to pull out a HELOC. And then the other thing, it's amazing how many people I'm working with that are selling their business in the States. I'm working with a guy who has a chain of hardware stores, and he's, considering offers right now. So I'm seeing a lot of people come down with cash, even though financing is available. Like you just said, they have the cash, they want to liquidate and park their money somewhere else other than the States.
So is that client, and let's not name any names.
Yeah.
Is that client of selling the U.S. chain of hardware stores, is he, she, they going to create a new chain in Costa Rica?
No, I think they are done with it. They are retiring. They are, it won't be a permanent move. But, a lot of people also are buying here. And, the lines are kind of blurred between, is this an investment? Is this a lifestyle, choice? Or is this a future retirement home? So I see a lot of people coming down, buying a house, buying a condo, something that they can fit into, something that they like. And then, the trend, chances are in 3 to 4 to 5 years, they're going to upgrade into, a better product, or maybe a location that's more desirable that they learned while they were here. So biggest thing, I think, just getting your foot in the door here and then enjoying that long-term appreciation with the option to, trade up, if you will.
Yeah. Well, like they say with real estate, it's all about holding it for the right amount of time for when you're ready for that next chapter, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So audience members, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me and my friend, recurring guest, Travis Comstock, in case you don't know his full name. Now, you might be asking, oh my gosh, Travis, Bill, with what you've been dropping here in the recent 25 minutes, it's kind of like ringing my bell. How can I get more information? How can I start a conversation with Travis? I'm going to make it so easy for you today. How you can start a conversation with Travis is simply scan the QR code that you see here. I will gladly hand you off, broker that warm introduction to Travis, even though right now he's in Costa Rica. He's just a cell phone call, a text away, or email if you're going to do it that way, right? So Music Posse, let's play us out for our live stream today of Buying That House. Travis, see you in the next one in about 1 week. Here we go.
Adios, amigo.